Here is the new display cage that I made. So this one is really meant for more for the purposes of display. However, it could potentially be used for several small arid species, and we'll get into that in a second. So, as everyone knows probably at this point, I like to make the different displays that I'll take to the different reptile expos or private shows, or that I post once a month, and I do like at least so far, I'm 2 in, the monthly different cage builds to have fun with the design. And so I decided, because, you know, I'm mostly the snake guy, I would do mostly like ball pythons and boas and quite a few different colubrid species, but let's do a more arid one because I don't do a whole lot with really arid species, and I certainly don't do a whole lot with lizards. So what I did is I found this really cool little cabinet right here. I picked it up at, I think it was like a Habitat for Humanity or something. And I used Animal Safe silicone, epoxy, and Drylock to seal the inside. And then I did the classic foam background, which admittedly, I am not as skilled in making that. You can still see a couple like little spots here and there. But I think it just kind of adds a little bit to the pizzazz of it all. So that is the basically design. So it's, you know, epoxied, sealed, Drylock. So theoretically it could hold water, but being wood based, I still wouldn't. I don't know how Mike, like Mike from Mike's Monitors does it. It's insane. Like if you guys have ever seen any of his builds, they are insane. It's crazy. Like he has a whiskey barrel one that is a wooden whiskey barrel with like an acrylic front, and it holds his monitors, and it's really cool, and he does a bunch of other really cool stuff. So with that being said, so here's this one. It's actually not that big. This is probably like a 55-gallon width, and then we'll circle around here. We'll just kind of walk around there. As you can see, it's not very wide. Like here's my hand. So that's why this is really more for display, for an idea, than it is for an actual animal enclosure. So when we look at this, so we have it all sealed. There's the background. Sorry, the camera's moving around so much. I got my gun back, so it shouldn't shake, but the camera's gonna move a lot, so I apologize. So we have, for the substrate, we have a mix of topsoil, not a very lot, like maybe 10% organic topsoil, playground sand, and some larger rocks. And that is the bottom. So that is a really nice little arid species. And then there's going to be probably over here on the cool side, some sphagnum moss tucked under this hide. And then we look into here. So we also have several actual real rocks, some real wood of a couple different varieties. So we have cholla wood here, which is collected here in Colorado, that I clean, treat, bleach, all that fun jazz. These weren't bleached, but these were baked for an extended period of time. And then we have a couple different artificial enclosures and a little plant for funsies. I would probably throw in a couple other air plants just to add a little bit more color to it. And then over here for lighting, we have two different ones. We have a halogen bulb for heat. This is not a very large enclosure. And again, this is mostly just for display purposes. So we have heat over here. And then this middle one is a VivTech LED bulb. The Sure Suns here. This one is midday blaze. This is meant for a higher UVA, UVB output for more diurnal species, or ones that get high amount of ultraviolet light and heat at once for a short amount of period of time and then go back in. So for more like subtropical or tropical species, they would spend usually a longer extended period of time out basking, or parts of them exposed basking. With the more arid diurnal species, a lot of time you'll see them basking in the morning for not as long extended periods, and then they will do their other things. And so this gives them a nice little gradient. So this is the very high hot spot over here, that halogen bulb, and then an LED. So that way, if they want to get lots of heat and less UVA, a little bit over here, and then a little bit here. I probably should have actually had this one maybe about there, and then that one about here. That's okay. Again, this is just for display purposes. And then this gives a good gradient of heat, ultraviolet light, and then cool side over here to get away from that, to where once this all warms up, because wood is a very good insulator, this will actually hold heat very well, especially even if you decided to add an additional like heat pad or something, maybe like in the middle or off to the side, or a very small heat pad like right here. That would make a very good heat gradient for any of these species that you would theoretically, on a larger scale, like for a bearded dragon, although not necessarily for a bearded dragon, but for a bearded dragon or different agamids or little fun things like that, or heck, even like a crocodile gecko would actually do very well in here. And for an actual species that could live in here, a crocodile gecko is one, as well as, you know, different knobtail geckos. Maybe not a swift, like the emerald swifts. It might work out. I just think they get a little bit big. They can get, you know, longer than this wide. They can get like up to 6, 7, 8 inches. So maybe not emerald swifts, but some smaller ones would do really well in here. I mean, in Colorado we can't have them, but like a Colorado river toad would actually do pretty well if you gave them a good little water source over on one side, because they're kind of arid type species. But anyway, what do you guys think? I think this is a really fun little build as a good example as a display. I've considered maybe like selling it or auctioning it off. Would anybody actually be like interested in that sort of thing, where I do more of these fun like little builds and I use them as like an auction piece, or I sell them or donate them for specific things, or, you know, maybe for like, you know, 5 or 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, well, you know, I'll auction this one away, and then you know, we'll split like freight shipping or something like that, or to that effect. Let me know if you guys have any ideas, or if anyone would be interested in that sort of a thing. In addition, just, you know, kind of let me know what you think about these guys. This is really cool. I had a lot of fun building this one. It's definitely different than I usually do. And yes, there's always rooms for adaptation or improvements. Mainly my big thing is I need to get better with the foam background. It'd be really cool if one of these days I actually there's someone locally here in Colorado that's starting to make zoo quality backgrounds that I will probably start to work with. To add backgrounds to many of my displays, because that's what we want to do. We want to improve those things, and it's a little bit better quality than even this foam stuff, even with the added texture and stuff that I do for this background. But maybe improving on that, and then maybe moving the light placement. But beyond that, I think this turned out really good. And, you know, as just a display piece, or heck, you know, I might bring it to some of like the Colorado reptile educators meetings, or maybe for other different reptile expos. I might bring a couple different ones as good examples or ideas of how you can do individual cage setups for your different species of reptiles and lizards and stuff. Would be really, really fun. But anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy this. Let me know if you have any interest in those things about the auctioning or donations or raffle or anything like that. And I hope you guys are having a great day. Stay tuned for more reptile themed content, and we will check you next time.